Welcome. Today we want to learn how to create websites using the Bootstrap Framework. The Bootstrap Framework is the most popular HTML, CSS and JavaScript framework for creating mobile responsive websites. That is, website that can scale in different screens depending on maybe the user's gadget or the gadget the user is using to access the website using. So this is a framework. That means a lot has already been done. So we are in terms of CSS, in terms of JavaScript, many has been already done. So we just need to learn how we can have the classes that have been done within the Bootstrap framework, and how we can use many IDs and many other classes in achieving different functionalities in our website. So we are talking about easy to use framework, a framework that has a lot of responsive features, mobile first approach, and many others. So like a good example of a website that has been done using Bootstrap framework is the ccpafrica.net. This is a website that I did using the Bootstrap framework. So if you try like to scale down your website, you realize that the menu or maybe the navbar folds down here, and every other thing folds. That means the website now becomes responsive, so you can access the content of your site right from any screen. So let us begin. We'll begin by creating a folder on the desktop, assuming that we are creating a website for a certain school, for example. So we can call this school math school. Then from there we need now to go online and download the Bootstrap framework. So you just need to search, go to Bootstrap or Google, just Google Bootstrap. Then of course you'll be let me enable internet here in my machine. Sorry for that. So you Google Bootstrap, then after that you should be able to see Bootstrap 4 or the current version of Bootstrap, and this you can be able to learn much about Bootstrap from here, but I wanted us just to go straight to the download page where we can download these files. So inside the download folder, you realize that you have two files. We have this folder, CSS, JS, and also we have fonts. So you need to extract the content to the specific location where you want us to create the website files, where you want to put the website files. That includes images and any other resource that we shall be using for this project. So there we go. So let's now open our Sublime text as usual, but make sure that you have accessed the directory or the folder directory where we shall be saving our work. So that was Math School, select folder, and then there we begin. Now if you try to access the content of the two folders that you downloaded, you realize that there are many CSS files that have already been done, and of course we have JavaScript files. Now in these two files of mine here, I have included many other JavaScript files that we shall be looking at sometimes later. So for now I want us to create a blog. We want first to understand how the Bootstrap classes work, and some of the most important Bootstrap classes that we must have. So to begin with, you have to realize that for the Bootstrap classes to be used, then we need, as usual, to put the links to the necessary files. Of course, we normally do that inside the head tag. So let's begin. We can first start by saving this new file. Of course, it should be the index file we saved inside the folder. This is our index.html. Then from there, as usual, the HTML layout, then maybe the title Math School. Alright, so now inside the heading we need to create a link. We will start by linking to this bootstrap.min.css. So we normally create links to CSS files using the link tag, and of course our CSS is inside a certain folder called CSS. Then the name of the file is bootstrap.min.css. Then now the other file that we need to link to is another file that is in the JS folder by the name bootstrap.min.js, and this is it. So linking to scripts, use script tag. Then from there remember to define now the source src equals the folder js / bootstrap.min.js. Good always to check the spelling. Bootstrap.min.css, bootstrap.min.js. I think that's fine. Now to check whether we are connected, we just need to create an object. Maybe you can try to create a paragraph and maybe put some stuff inside the paragraph, and then now this paragraph we can give it class, either of the classes that are inside the Bootstrap framework. Like let me try by giving it class Jumbotron. Jumbotron is a class that indicates a big box with extra padding, and the box is gray in color with some rounded corners. So let's see whether our paragraph will pick that. So we are talking about class Jumbotron. So save and then open your work, confirm whether you can have that effect. Oh yeah, here it is, meaning now we are connected. So we can begin. So remove the paragraph. Then from there now we can begin. Now one very much powerful feature of Bootstrap framework is the ability to subdivide your row or the viewport into 12 small columns, and of course you can group the small columns to the maximum number of 12 columns. That is, you can regroup. Maybe you can have 3 small groups of 4 each. 3 groups of 4 columns in each. So we'll be doing that later. So let us first see how we can get started. Of course, after now we have done our linkings, the next thing that we need to understand is that inside the head tag we need to include this attribute lang in our HTML, and then in the head, that's in the head tag, we put the meta charset attribute. So for the lang equals in n, that means the language is English. So we have to include that inside our head, inside our title. So we say HTML lang equals en. That way we are telling the browsers that the language here is English. Then inside the head tag you have to include the meta charset. This is a character set UTF-8 that supports most of the characters that we will be using in our website. So we also need to have that attribute meta charset equals UTF-8 somewhere in between the head. So there you go. Meta charset UTF-8. The beauty part of using Sublime Text is that some of these tags it understands clearly. So the other thing that we need to tell Bootstrap or our website is that Bootstrap 3 is designed to be very much responsive to mobile devices, and that is the core focus or what Bootstrap is famous on. So we need to put the following meta tag with this attribute. Name is viewport or our display, then content is the device content. The content should fit the device that is used by the user to view the the website. Then initial scale is 1, that means the default zooming level, which is 1. So we also need to have that line of code in our head part of the website. So you can put there, let me just put slightly below the other one, that is at that point. So from there now we want to learn the grid system, because now this is what makes Bootstrap to be Bootstrap. So the first thing that we need to do now to understand how we can subdivide our view to 12 small columns, we need to create a div and give it a class container fluid. We could have given it class container, but first we need to understand what we get from class container and what we get from class container fluid. So let's go back here. So class container creates a responsive fixed container, but class container fluid gives a full width container. And of course I like using the entire viewport, so we can just use class container fluid. Maybe you can try during your own free time and check the difference between the two. So we are talking about this div. I'll give it class container fluid. Then from there now I create a row inside my container fluid, and this I'll give it class row. These are classes that are already defined inside Bootstrap Framework. So for this case, I have my row and I want to divide my row into 2 equal columns. Of course the maximum is 12, so I'm expecting the first one to be 6 and the second one to be also 6. So I'll just say div, and then class is call sm12. I'm sure you're wondering where I've got this class from. So this is a class that helps to access your website. That is if you are on a tablet, it will make the website fully responsive. We also have different classes for the grid system, which we have class XS, class MD, class MG, that is for larger desktop, MD for desktops, and the same for tablets. But I want to use SN because it will still create responsiveness in the others. But you can still use all of them, yeah. But let me just use this for now. So there we go. Div class equals call sm12. Of course I can't use the full 12 for now. I want to divide it into 2, so that is the first division. Then I create another division. That is a class call sm6. So I have created 2 divisions. I have divided my row. This row I have divided it into 2 equal column groups. So of course here I can decide like to put one slider, or I can decide to put a paragraph, and here I can decide to put maybe breaking news or anything that I want. So for now, let us just put some dummy content and check the preview of the same. Laura, enter. Let's see how we have managed to create some divisions of our viewport, and there you go. So this is where I was saying you can like be creative and put some maybe a slider or any other thing that you want, and on the other side you can still do the same. So if we wanted, for example, to create divisions of maybe unequal divisions, maybe the first one to be like 9, then definitely the remaining part will occupy 3, because that row can only be divided into maximum of 12 small containers. There you go. So I think now you can try to create another container fluid and create your own divisions in your own way. So for now, I want us to leave my divisions blank. Will be coming later to work on them. So let us create another container fluid. Let's create another container fluid. Div class equals container fluid. Then inside the container fluid we create another div whose class is row. Then now from there we can leave it at that point. I want you to create maybe other 4 copies of that. Let me say 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are several layers within my viewport or my website. So for now, I want us to create another container fluid here that we are not going to subdivide. We are going to put the navbar there. That is the headings of the buttons for the links. So div class equals row. Then now this one we are not going to subdivide, so I will give it class equals call sm type. There you go. So I want us to put the navbar inside this column group. We are going to use class nav. So go to Bootstrap, check the navbar. You'll get a lot has been done for you. A navbar looks like this one, the one that we have here in W3 schools. So down there, I want you to pick the last example that has been created there. So this is what we have. There's the nav tag, which has been given class navbar, class navbar inverse. You can also change to navbar default or many other classes. So in there we also have a container fluid. There is the navbar header. Within the header there is the navbar branch, and then within the nav itself we have the relevant links. And as you can see here, this class glyphicon. Class glyphicon creates icons like these ones. So this is class glyphicon user, class glyphicon login. We'll be able to have a look at that later. So for now, just copy the last example that has been given down there. Just copy. Then from there, paste inside your column group. Then save and check what we have done so far. There you go. We have created a navbar. We want maybe to make this navbar a bit lighter. So change, instead of having navbar inverse, maybe you can make it navbar default. Navbar default. Yeah, navbar default will make it a bit lighter. Yeah, there we go. Later we'll be learning how we can also customize all that and maybe work it or make it the way we want. So for now, let's customize this. Of course, the website name, Max School, page 1, our services, page 2, about us, page 3, contact us, something like that. Yeah, I think that's okay. This we have sign up, here we have login. So save, confirm always the progress. Yeah, there we go. Now this is already highlighted here, meaning there's a class that is making it a bit different than the others. So that is the class active. So for now we can remove that so that all the links can be uniform. Yes, there we go. If you try to collapse your view, you realize that yes, the buttons have collapsed. But the challenge is you cannot maybe expound and see the details. That means there's something that you are lacking. Of course, we will have to enable that. Make sure in between the bootstrap.min.css and bootstrap.min.js you create a link, or you include the script jQuery. So my jQuery is located in a folder called JS, and this is it, jQuery.js. jQuery.js. So save and check whether now you can expand and collapse your links. Oh, very interesting. There we go. Another thing that you need to do, we need to now create like the relevant containers, the relevant views. I don't want us maybe to take users to a different page. I just want us to play around with the current view and load a specific layer when a user clicks a specific link. So like for example, if he clicks our services, then we just load a specific container down here. So for now, we need first to work on the containers, at least so that they can occupy a big part of the screen at once. So to do that, maybe I may suggest we use our own CSS. So right click, create a new file, save that file. You can call it maybe our style.css, our style.css. Then yeah, we can create now different containers. So like I will create a class here, call this class maybe class 1. That's how we create a class, dot something. So class 1, from there we learned that I think in CSS when we were doing basics of CSS. So can you give that class some height, like 600 pixels? Can you give that class some background? Maybe I can use background image. Yeah, background image URL. Then I define where the image is located. Let me see. I think I need to download a certain image of a school, but I'll make sure that the height of the width of the size is a bit big. School compound images. Let me just customize my search so that at least I get a larger image, larger than that, and then I get an image that is not that busy. Yeah, so an image like this. I think that's fine. So save your image inside the folder. Of course, you can be wise and create a subfolder there, call it images. Then maybe the name of the image, let me just call it BG. Make sure you save inside the folder, save. So you can use that image as the background. So background image URL, then you define the source of the image. So I'm already in the folder CSS, so I'm expecting like now I need to get out and get inside folder images. So get out, then get inside the folder images, then refer to an image called bg.jpg. I think it's good we also fix the image. Of course, you can tell the image never to repeat, background repeat, no repeat. background attachment fixed. That is my class 1. Of course, now I can create class 2. I can create class 2, that is dot 2, and give this class a bigger height, again 650 pixels. We'll customize that depending on what you want to achieve. Height 650 pixels. Background, maybe I can use color. Background color green, for example, depending on the theme of the website. So let's apply those two classes in our work. Of course, for now we just need to come somewhere inside the head tag, and first let the index file realize that we have a